Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Real Talk Show with your host. I'm Sherwin G.
I'm Tyler J. What's up, everyone?
Hey, what's up, Tyler? Hey, so we just filmed a great episode. Yeah, we didn't know where it was going to go. That's where we kind
I'm
of
just
filming
sorry. I'm just laughing, but
I know. We're doing the recap. We did like a 2021 kind of recap of our goals that we've accomplished and sort of like our 2022 goals that we want to accomplish and sort of what we're doing to accomplish those goals, right?
yeah, I mean, I think it was a really cool episode of just kind of a recap of the crazy year we had last year. Everything from kind of our professional accomplishments to like real estate goals to just our various travels and family and work-life balance and visualization of how to accomplish goals for this year. So I think it was a really cool episode. And I think this was one of our first episodes where we were very just unscripted. And I think that's where I think a lot of our value comes from, is just that we'll call it, I keep saying the real talk, but really fun episode. And I always get energy just from talking to people like you, Sherwin. So
yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So everyone enjoy the episode, talk about our personal and business goals, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah. Enjoy.
I almost forgot the name of the show because, we've been kind of slacking, Tyler. I know that this is like our first show in 2022, and it's been a while because, you and I have been kind of out and about for the holidays, right?
Yeah. I mean, we haven't really hopped on a recording for probably a month and a half, 2 months now through the holidays. I know we were both pretty busy starting right around Thanksgiving. So, and then we, got into the Christmas kind of holiday spirit. I was in New York, you were in Hawaii, and then the New Year comes and goes, and we're already a month into January of 2022. Or actually, tomorrow's gonna be the 1st of February. So,
yeah, it's funny. I was out with some friends this weekend, and I mentioned like, oh wow, January is already done. 1 month out of the year is done. We only have 11 months left, and one of my friends made a comment like, "You make it sound like we're running out of time," and which is kind of funny because that's sort of how like my goals and everything are kind of based around, is around time and preserving time, because that's that one asset that we can't bring back. And I was like, yeah, we are. It's 11 months. I mean, it's already 1 month's gone out of the year.
1/12 of the month is gone.
Yeah. So, hope you got your goals.
So what I did, I don't know if I talked to you about this before, but what I did is I've never really been a resolutions kind of guy. But I'm trying to, as I get older, I'm getting towards my mid 30s now, and like I'm trying to, I think I'm understanding more and trying to prioritize more like experiences and like enjoying my life outside of work more, which is, I think you already understand that obviously from a deep level. But like, so what I did is I basically wrote out 12 things I want to accomplish this year, like one for every month.
Whoa, that's pretty good.
So it's everything from like literally going skydiving, which is like something I've never done, but I've wanted to do for like 10 years. I just never like sat down on a weekend and like booked a skydiving trip, like things like that I want to experience that have been on my mind for a while, that for whatever reason, whether it's work or real estate or investing, it just gets in the way of like me scheduling it. So like another thing I want to do is actually get a motorcycle license. Like I want to be able, I'm not like an avid motorcycle kind of guy, but like I've always wanted to ride one, and I've always wanted the ability to ride one. So what do I have to do? I have to get a license. So things like that, like one thing a month has helped me, I think, like break down these little smaller goals. And honestly, most of them are non-financial related. Like I have some investing goals I want to accomplish, but like, as I kind of shift into this older age, I'm trying to like, experience life more and really get the most out of it. Because as we know, like life is short and time is the most valuable asset. So do you have any resolutions or goals for 2022, Sherwin?
Yeah. I mean, like, just to recap, I mean, like, this is like, I guess this is not an atypical show or typical show where we have like a specific topic. I guess our topic is like kind of recapping 2021 and sort of focusing on our 2022 goals, right? And sort of you and I catching up and just, hey, recording this real talk. But I'm like, yeah, I think it's pretty important to kind of get set personal and kind of business goals or career goals, and just to kind of like similar goals like you. I mean, I don't have like a one goal per month kind of plan like you, which is pretty pretty cool. But then I mean, maybe I should do that and kind of break it down into steps. There's this one book by Jay Powell called the One Thing, where you kind of get your bigger goal, and in order to reach that bigger goal, you think of the step before that. What do I need to get to that goal? What I need to get to that goal? And you sort of like you do that one little step in order to knock that first domino in order to accomplish that first goal. So I have like similar, like I have like a mixture of a personal and sort of business goals. And I wrote it out in a, I don't know, this is the way I do. I have like, I use Google Keep and I take notes there. And before this episode, actually I started before this episode, like into the new year, like started, typing out like my goals, and I kind of looked over it before we recorded today. One of my main goals is, I want to see my family in Hawaii at least 4 times a year. Nice. That's maybe once a quarter. And I don't know, Tyler, I was in Hawaii last December for like over a month, and that was like the longest time I've ever been home ever since I left for college in high school. Yeah. It was a long time, and I was able to do that because I wasn't tied down to a W-2 job. I didn't have to worry about PTO and all that. But times are changed because of this pandemic lifestyle. It's a little bit more flexible and so forth. But because I don't have a W-2 job, I don't have to worry about PTO, I can work from home or anywhere, which a lot of people have now, that luxury, even though they have a W-2 job. But I was able to stay home a lot longer. But it might have been too long. So my wife and I,
too much family.
Well, we're chatting, like we're like, maybe rather than once a year or twice a year for like a month each at a time, maybe we break it up and go more times throughout the year. Yep. Maybe a week or 2 increments, right? Yeah. It's more money out of our pocket because you got to pay for flights. Now I got like, now my daughter just turned 2. Now I got to pay for her flight. So that's a family of 4.
No more lap child.
Yeah, it gets expensive, but maybe it's broken up. Maybe, my family goes there twice a year, and then my parents come out here to visit us in California twice a year. Yeah. You just want to see my family a little bit more often. So it's just my grandparents are getting older now. My parents are getting older, and I just want to spend more time at home. And, I grew up there. I want my kids to, experience the way I grew up, going to beaches and hanging out at the mall. Well, that's like 80s, 90s. I'm aging myself, but I don't think kids hang out. Yeah, I don't think but then like, along the same lines about, visiting my family, my family here, in California, my wife and my kids, I always want somebody to look forward to. So I want to go to like a family outing, like once per quarter, that's 4 times a year again, just so we have something to look forward to every quarter, like for this first quarter, we came back from Hawaii, and I told my wife, well, snow season's coming up. I'm an avid snowboarder. I haven't snowboarded in a while, but I was like, hey, let's go take the kids to see snow because my daughter Mina hasn't seen snow yet. But yeah, and literally, I think we got back on Hawaii on the Tuesday. My partner Paul mentions, hey, we got another deal in South Lake Tahoe. Plus, we got to meet our new contractor there. Do you want to go to Tahoe for the weekend to go meet the contractor, check out some deals and so forth? I'm like, man, I just got back home from Hawaii. Let me see what my wife says, because I'm like, it's probably going to be hard no. I said, yeah, let's do it. We need a vacation from the vacation. So we go back from Hawaii on the Tuesday. That same weekend, we drove to South Lake Tahoe. We took care of work, and then the rest was pleasure with our family, which is great. So we kind of like, worked it out. Always have that goal of kind of working around my family schedule. So, work is a good work was a priority there, but then, my main priority was make sure we have enough time. We had way more time. We spent 20% time on work, 80% time with the family. So took my family to see snow. So I got that first quarter out of the way. Next quarter, we're going to go back to Hawaii for my cousin's wedding. So I don't know if that counts as something else to look forward to, but
yeah, for sure. Something
like that. Right. I mean, on top of that, I also got like real estate goals. Like, my wife and I are trying to build up our own personal portfolio outside of my company Flight, just to diversify our portfolio, get a little bit more cash flowing portfolios, more buy and hold, because a lot of our our MO for Flight is that we do heavy value add deals that we force the NOI, and then we end up exiting or refinancing after 3 to 5 years or something of that nature, right? So that's one of our goals: build up our personal portfolio, in addition to my kind of a Flight portfolio, I guess.
Where are you guys looking on the personal side? Like, are you looking in the California market or?
Yeah, so I reached out some brokers. We're looking. I said, of course, the Sacramento market, because I already have boots on the ground. Yep, it's already high priced over there. I really want to invest in Vegas. I think I'm kind of jaded because I like to invest in places I like to visit. Thus, we're investing in South Lake Tahoe and like Vegas. I have family in Vegas too. Vegas is already hot. Phoenix market is super hot.
Yep.
I mean, Texas and Austin, I have no, I know that's super hot already, but I don't have any, I guess, experience in that market. I'm trying to invest, it's like how I first started investing in real estate, kind of start where I know and where I'm comfortable with. And I already have boots, and I have already property managers lined up. I have brokers here, blah, 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 that can kind of help me accomplish that goal. And then if I go to a newer market like Vegas, kind of just work maybe start small, maybe do a 2 unit, two, three,
Little
4 unit
duplex.
to build it up, and then start building up a track record there, because that's how I started with commercial multifamily. Just get that one deal down, and puzzles, pieces of the puzzle will sort of fall in place, and then you start building up that confidence in that market. You start building relationships with property managers, brokers, contractors, and so forth. But I'm open. I mean, I mentioned to you, hey Tyler, I got some, I know we can recap. We'll go back and recap our 2021 account, but you've exited some deals. I've exited some deals. I've got capital now, and I hate seeing my bank account, because of inflation and everything.
Making no money for you, man.
I want to get rid of it. It's funny, right? Like before like the whole investor minded, I was like, save. Let's hoard all that money. Now I'm like, I'm uncomfortable seeing, I'm not rich or anything, but I'm uncomfortable seeing money in my savings. Yep. I'm just thinking to myself, like, oh my God, every dollar in there is like my employee.
It's a worker.
And they're being lazy right now, just sitting in the savings account, not doing anything for me. I'm like, and every day that passes, every month that passes, I'm like, bro, are you gonna work for me? What's going on? Hey, that's me, because I'm the CEO of my, of my bank, of my time and whatever. And it's up to me to kind of deploy these employees, these dollar bills into action, right? So,
well, I think that's the most important like mindset shift, because similar to what you just mentioned, like back in the day, I was an avid saver. I was frugal. I saved a lot of money, and my bank account got to a point where it was substantial, but I didn't know what to do with it. And I was like, and I remember like I was in my early 20s. I was like, I don't even know what to do with this money. Like, cool, I've got some money. I've been frugal for a while, and I got some cash, but like, what am I even saving for? Like, am I saving for a house, a primary residence in the Bay Area? Like, I don't even know what I'm saving this money for. And I was like super pumped when I would get like 1% APY on a savings account. I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm making 1% a month, 1% a year. But then, I don't know what really, I think, shifted my mindset. I think it was like podcasts and reading and just thinking more about my future. I was like, this money shouldn't be sitting here. I think, yes, everyone should have a 3 to 6 to 12 month emergency fund, right? To just cover your expenses. But then really, it's my philosophy now has been basically, let's try and deploy as much as possible into investments and have them work for me, right? So like, though that money in your bank account, as you know this already, Sherwin, but for the viewers who are watching now, like the money you have in your bank account can be seen as another income source. It is another income source if you deploy it correctly. So that's the beauty of real estate investing, is you can put your money to work. You can take your money and make more money with your money. Like, it doesn't make sense, but it's like awesome.
Yeah, I think who was it? I think it was my partner Matt, or maybe I read or saw tweets from her. Like I guess one of the problems of investing in real estate is deciding where to put your money in.
Yeah,
I mean that's with any investor: real estate, stocks, crypto. If you're into crypto, it's just kind of deciding, making those decisions. And you and I are in the syndication business. That's the beauty about a syndication is, investors kind of have that control of which property they want to invest in, because they get to reveal that, versus like a REIT or something like that, where, I mean, there's benefits to that as well, but in that, it's like it's almost like buying stocks, where you're not investing in one property, but an accumulation of different properties, which people may like. They like that little spread. So
diversification.
It all depends on your goals. I mean, nothing's wrong with saving if you're, saving up for that vacation or whatever. I know some friends that have a different account for different goals. They have a vacation account where they put in, and that's their vacation, and they have like a fun account and maybe like an investing account, kind of spread out. I don't know what your thoughts. I mean, I just have like a couple of accounts and just kind of, I mean, I have business accounts, of course, for each property, and then kind of separated, my kids and our personal and so forth. But I don't have a bunch of different ones, because it's almost like, I mean, not like it matters, because you're getting negative 0.0 whatever percent interest on your money, right? So
Yeah, I usually keep things pretty organized. So I went the approach of I have an account for every property, and then I have my emergency fund account, which I never touch or really even look at. It's got X amount of dollars in there for like I run kind of lean. Like I don't have a family and a wife and kids. I don't have a primary mortgage right now. So I can live off of pretty low monthly income if needed. So I have like, and I also am, more apt to take some risks. So I really only have 3 months of saving of living expenses in my account on my emergency fund. And then I have another account called my opportunity fund. And that's where I plow all my other money into. It's like a high yield savings account, not the greatest percentage, right? But that's for it could be maybe I want to deploy some money in the stock market or real estate or anything really. And then sometimes I take parts of that opportunity fund and throw it into like crypto or the stuff. I mean, I just, that's kind of my investing money. So I have basically an emergency fund. I have a primary checking, accounts from my properties, and then the opportunity fund.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, that's what I call it. The opportunity fund.
Yeah. Well, I know we kind of hopped around a little bit, but let's take a step back and kind of discuss kind of like your 2021 recap, kind of, what you're proud that you got accomplished in the year 2021, I guess. Year two, pandemic year two.
I mean, so yeah, COVID hit in 2020. Felt like that year was kind of lost, but then like 2021 came and went real quick. I felt like, I mean, there were times when it felt slow, right? But then there are also times when it just like, when you think about it, the last 2021 was kind of a crazy year too. I think a lot of us thought we'd be out of the pandemic, but we were still very much in it. But I mean, I think the biggest highlights for myself, I didn't acquire anything of myself personally, and I've gone really heavily into the syndication side of things, as you know, Sherwin. But so I still own some properties in the Midwest that just I'm holding for long term for cash flow. I'm debating on if I actually sell them and move that money elsewhere. But for now, I just kind of honestly don't want to take the time to think about having to put those on the market just yet. So, hey, I'll take the monthly cash flow. I think I had 3 big wins last year. We'll start with the smallest, and actually maybe 4 big wins. We'll call it 4. We'll include the Sacramento deal too. Wink, wink. So one of my syndications as an LP, we purchased this property back in 2018. It's honestly been quite a challenge. It's out in Louisville. Finally got that thing sold. And I was on the LP side just primarily, but I walked away not losing money, which is great. I walked away with a little bit of a return, but I was very happy to get my capital back. And then my other 2 deals that I had that exited in 2021 were both in Phoenix. So
that's great.
As you talked about, Sherwin, like the Phoenix market's been very hot the last couple of years and extremely hot through COVID. So essentially we got some offers that we couldn't deny. So a couple of my properties out there, one I was a GP on, one I was an LP on, essentially to our investors, we were able to return between 50 and 100% of their money within less than 2 years. So it was a very quick reposition. The primary reason why those properties returned such great numbers also is we didn't even execute the full renovation plan. So we didn't have to exhaust our full renovation budget because again, we bought, repositioned and sold within less than 2 years when the business plan called for the typical, 3 to 7 year business plan. But the market was hot. The buyers were out there ready to pull the trigger on these properties, and we left some meat on the bone for them too, right? So there's still some value add opportunity there, and we exited 2 properties in Phoenix. So
that's great.
Those are the big ones. And then the last one is, hey, I hopped in another deal with you, Sherwin, in Sacramento, which I think is a really intriguing deal. It's the 12 unit up in Sacramento, fully vacant, which I think from a California standpoint, that's what you want. You don't want to have to deal with, the cash for keys and the tenants, right? So if you can go in there and find a fully vacant property like we did in Sacramento, which is the 12 unit in Midtown, you control your destiny basically, right? Like you control the timeline of construction, you control the lease up period. Like you don't have to worry about all the tenant laws in California.
That's great. I think I saw like online, like it really depends on your goals and what your business strategy is, because a lot of people don't want vacancies. They're like, oh, vacant units, 0 cap rate. What the hell are you doing? Why are you buying that? I never buy 0 cap rate. It's like, but like you mentioned, because of our location, California, and our business strategy of forcing this appreciation by rehabbing the interior of the units and the exterior, it just makes us as a value add syndicator, our job a little bit easier and accelerate our business plan. Right.
Yep.
That was a deal that kind of got a lot of people hopped on, and it was oversubscribed very, very quickly. You know, hey, going back to your 2 exits in Phoenix, because I get this question a lot, is why did you guys, why sell? Why not just keep for cash flow? Because that's what everybody talks about. Cash flow is king and blah, 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 blah. Why did you sell if you already kind of, turned the property, you've increased the rents, you've got better management, better operations, blah, 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 blah. It's making nice money. It's cash flowing. Why sell, Tyler?
Yeah. Well, that's honestly the question that I think a lot of syndicators get. Unless you're the long-term buy and hold guy, you're always going to get that. But I mean, there's a number of reasons because the question's always, why did you sell, or why didn't you just refinance and like cash out some of your investors?
Were you a GP on those 2 deals, or were you?
I was a GP on one of the deals. So the first deal was a 164 unit in Glendale, which I was an LP in with my friends out there, and then GP on a 94 unit in Mesa, Arizona.
Yeah.
But honestly, at the end of the day, like we as a syndication group, and you too as a syndication group, like you are crafting this business plan. You are building out returns for investors. And at the end of the day, in my opinion, if you're able to deliver that return or even exceed them, like if you have a chance to do that, that's great. Like if I say, Sherwin, I'll give you 50% of your money in 5 years, a return on your money in 5 years, but I can do that in less than 2, like I'm going to do it. But again, I mean, everyone's philosophy and strategy is different. I will say the investors that we work with, like are very well aware of our business plan. Like our plan is to sell. Like we're gonna exit this property. We're gonna pay the capital gains, not hopefully, and they know what the business plan is going into it. So first of all, it's very transparent. We're not catching anyone off the guard. Like they're signing up for this. We're also, again, writing out this business plan where there's a certain threshold that they're going to, we expect to achieve. But again, if we can exceed that return in a shorter time period, I think that's a great move for our investors and as well for us. Now, the downside is, okay, now we're back on the hunt for a deal, which is not always fun. And at the end of the day, also back to the point of why not hold and refinance and cash flow, like that's not a bad option either. I mean, that's like there's just so many opportunities and options in real estate. I think you have to just sit down and think about your investors, especially from a syndicator side of things. And it's just like, if you can over deliver on your returns, it's hard to argue against that.
That's the key. Me being the operator and sponsor, our main priority is our investors and what's best for them, and yielding the highest returns for them in the shortest amount of time. I think that's a good tweet though, Tyler, we should do. It's like, would you rather get half of your money back in 2 years or double that in 7 years? And be kind of interesting what people say, or 5 years, or you can shorten that time frame if you want, or whatever. And I think I asked that question one time to our investors, and they're like, "Oh, I'd rather get the money quickly, right?" Especially if that's your first time investing with that particular sponsor or operator. You want to see those returns to sort of build that trust and track record. That's always for us. We've acquired 12 assets altogether in like 3 years that we've been in flight, and we've exited 5. And I think it was important for us to exit deals to build trust and to build a track record with our investors, because they get their money back. I mean, our average hold time is like 16, 17 months for the exited deals, and our investors get their money back, and they can quickly reutilize that capital to reinvest with us again, or go invest on their own, or go spend that money on however they wanted to spend that money in the first place. So it's every goal is different. Like you said, the offering memorandum will sort of show that business strategy, so it's transparent. It's like, hey, says here we're going to hold for 3 to 5 years, refinance. If we get an exit, we'll exit. And you alluded earlier, if we meet the pro forma numbers or exceed it, or we're close to around it, but if it takes 1 year or 2 years to do that, 100% of the time we'll exit and move on to the next sale, because equity is where you build wealth. That's what I always say. Not through cash flow. Cash flow is great for freedom, but equity is really where you truly build wealth. Well, you can stack that wealth and buy bigger, better deals, or invest in bigger, better deals later on.
That's another good point too. Like, depends on where you are in your stage of your investing career, and just your life, your life the chapter in life you're in. Like,
Yeah.
if you already are retired, have a lot of money, and just want a cash flowing property to make sure you get that, like, 8% a year, like that's great. Work with someone who specializes in buy and hold long-term properties, right?
Yeah.
There's just so many different models and ways to invest. But the stage I'm in is I want money quickly, and if I can get a nice return in 2 years, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm also, again, not 65 years old with grandchildren running around and retired. Like, I'm trying to really build the war chest, quote unquote, right now. And so that's going to require me to get into deals and do deals that are quicker and faster with high returns, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it all depends on the person. And it is funny because that question always comes up, right? Why didn't you just hold? But like, the answer is there's just so much to that answer. Like,
yeah,
it's the reasons why you don't hold sometimes. But
yeah.
No, it's a valid question.
Yeah.
But it's funny. You get that, I get that. It's always, why did you sell?
yeah. And it's on the offer. Like you said, we're transparent as possible. This was the original business plan. But as you mentioned earlier as well, that's what's the beauty about real estate, because you can, after stabilizing the property in a year or 2 or 3, or how long it takes, you can kind of take a look at the market, take a look at where the economy is at, and so forth. And is it the best time to sell? Is it the best time to refinance? Is it the best time to hold? You can make those decisions. What's the best outcome for your investors and yourself? And you pivot. You have to have multiple exit strategies, and that's the beauty about real estate, because you have that kind of control, right? So it's like, if the market's not hot, okay, well, refinance and hold until the market gets hot, collect some cash flow, and then wait till it gets hotter. I mean, the whole time maybe a little bit longer, but maybe in the end it'll be more beneficial towards the end, for our investors once you exit.
The interesting thing is, I mean, it's always a double-edged sword, kind of, and not double-edged sword, but like, now it's, we're both in a situation where it's like we have some cash on the sidelines, and we're like, I guarantee you and I are both anxious to deploy that money, right? So it's like, it's so funny how, like, getting a chunk of cash creates anxiety in your life.
It shouldn't, but
it shouldn't.
It's like,
it's great, because I think that means we have the right mentality. We have the right mindset right now. And the money that we invested, whether that's on an LP side or part of a GP group or whatever we did with it, like, you kind of forget about that for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then, it's weird. It kind of trains your brain to think that you're like poorer than you actually are. and then like a chunk of money like comes your way, and you're like, what do I do with this?
Yeah. But it is great to exit deals and get those returns, because it's sort of like like I told my wife, we sort of like reset our account, because I don't have a W-2 job. I don't have a paycheck every 2 weeks coming in now. It's not flowing in anymore as much. I have cash flow coming in from other properties, and so forth, but still, it's like, it's nice getting that chunk, because now my mentality has changed. It's like, all right, rather than have cash flow that replaces my monthly income, why don't I just focus on getting equity that replaces my salary? Now we're good, but now I'm kind of trying to forecast. Okay, it's almost like separating your accounts. Okay, maybe I'll keep this much for kind of like our living expenses and everything and so forth, and now invest like a certain percentage into real estate and reinvesting into other types of investment to make that money grow, make that equity grow. But to go back to, I guess, like my 2021.
Yeah. What was some of your big highlights of 2021?
Yeah, I mean, like, I just posted this. We did like kind of like a recap on our website, and like, just sort of like the flight goals is that, we were able to close 4 deals last year and exit 2, which is great. The first kind of half of the year, the 2021 year, was kind of slow. But I think, it was like a year into the pandemic. There wasn't so many deals out there, especially commercial multifamily deals. The inventory is pretty low, and there's not too much action that those first kind of 2 quarters of last year. And then the third quarter and the fourth quarter sort of picked up, and that's when we actually acquired our 4 deals. I mean, we acquired our
I can name them. Let me see if I can get these. I don't know
tricky.
I forgot let me see if I can get the order right. South
2
Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, 2 of them came like around the same time.
South Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
Sacramento.
Yeah.
Redwood City.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at my list now. Like
self-storage in Spokane.
Look at you.
Boom.
Man, do you work for Flight?
I got it.
Yeah, no, it was right. Yeah, no, it was great. And then we exited some deals in Sacramento, which is great as well, to kind of return our investors' capital, then redeploy the returns into whatever, like we talked about earlier. But so one question I got, because it was great because like you mentioned, we got that Wall Street executive storage deal in Spokane. That was our first self-storage deal and our first out-of-state deal. And we expanded to the South Lake Tahoe market. We're usually bread and butter in the Bay Area, proper,
Bay Area,
I guess.
Stockton, Sacramento.
Sacramento, Stockton, and San Jose, right? Those are like our core markets, and that's where we have teams set in place. So once we start venturing into other markets like South Lake Tahoe and then Spokane, I did get questions from investors like, why are you investing out of state? Why are you investing outside of your core markets? Why different assets? Because I think Brian Burke's book, I forget what the title of the book, but he's kind of like, oh, you should really focus on your niche and focus on that instead of being all over the place. And for us, we sort of think of, Flight. We did it for 3 years now, for 36 months. And, every business kind of expands, right? And grows. And, our investment thesis and goals still remain the same from property to property, whether it's self-storage, multifamily in California, outside of California. Our investment thesis for Flight is to find heavy value management opportunities in prime markets that allows our investors, or allows us to force appreciation, and I make sure to yield the highest returns for our investors in the shortest amount of time. That's our thesis, right? And I think by diversifying our investment opportunities for investors, we're giving them kind of choices, because we have heard investors go, hey, I'm interested in self-storage. I trust you guys because I've invested with you in commercial multifamily. Let me know if you have anything, if you venture onto a self-storage market. So we're listening to our investors, what they want, and kind of like trying to give them a different option. So I just see that as kind of like a different wing of Flight, like a different, there's a different branch, and then we got our multifamily. So we're trying to build out, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we can build upon it and go first. So that was a great accomplishment for us, for career-wise, that we're able to get a self-storage deal and our first out-of-state deal, and hopefully grow on that in 2022.
Well, I think it's awesome because now you're going to be able to essentially offer more investment vehicles in terms of a different class. You have self-storage now. You can also offer investors different markets that may be more cash flow heavy, right? So like before, you were very heavy value add, and it was a very much an equity play in the Bay Area, and you're forcing appreciation. But now as you expand, and this is, if you look at Flight as a company and where you see that being 10 years down the line, what do you want to be? Do you want to be able to offer all these different types of products and markets to investors? And the answer, if you are from a capitalist side of things, like the answer is probably yes. So you guys start dipping your toe into new markets. Now, the other thing is, I always bring up this too, like there's never going to be a perfect market, right? There's never going to be a perfect market. So you mentioned like Dallas and Austin and Vegas, like, and kind of wrapping your brain around like where to go next, but there's never a perfect market. And I think what you've done is you've kind of just tiptoed into new markets, and you're building a team there. And once you establish that, then you can kind of expand even further. But a lot of it comes down to, I mean, the deal flow and the boots on the ground too. Like if you have no one in Dallas right now, it versus maybe another deal in South Lake Tahoe, wink, wink, like, it might make sense to just keep going into South Lake Tahoe a little bit more.
Like,
you can't expand too fast, but there's a balance, right? There's a balance. You gotta have the boots on the ground.
And that's one of the great things of being introduced to a new market like South Lake Tahoe, is that we kind of partner up with a contractor that has other properties there that has a proven track record, where they have properties already in South Lake Tahoe. They're contractors, so they already have that investor mindset, right? So we partner up with them to do the construction in our deals, and partner with them for the new deal. Hint, hint. And we'll talk about that more later on, maybe. But then, because they already have those boosters, they have the experience. They flip units there that are at a low rate, low rent, low market rate, and now they flipped it and got like more than double or almost double the rent now. So it's a proven track record. It's been done, and they've done it before. So it's great to partner up with them. That's the one thing I guess people I always hear when I used to go to meetups, like, hey, I don't want to partner up with people because I'd rather make 100% of that profit and do it on my own. I mean, you can make like 10% of like a $3 trillion deal. I'd rather have that and do less work, right? It's about the time and so forth. So that's a hesitation people get with partner up. I'm like, no, we met this contractor last weekend. It's like, this is a relationship that we're building. this may be long term, this may be short term, depending on how it goes. But we're in a mindset like this is a relationship we're going to build a long term relationship where we can build upon and do more deals together. Because if they're already the contractor on board, they're the boots on the ground. That makes us more efficient. We have a deal where we know the contractor, and that's one of the ways we set mistake. We use the same contractor, same property managers, boom, 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 boom. Everything's already set in place. It's like automatic now, economies of scale, rinse and repeat, and so forth. So we're excited. And cousin, it's funny because in last deal that you talked about the Sacramento, that was 100% vacant. We're getting deals on our table now that I think we're getting the sort of the rep, like, hey, these flight guys like vacancies. So the Redwood City project that we got was vacant as well, like I think almost 40% vacant, and we love it. We're like, oh, perfect, because we can just once we close on deal, we can deploy our teams and
you can work on those units right away. You don't have to worry about getting into those occupied rooms.
Exactly. Yeah, like the South Lake Tower is a totally different strategy. It's a longer term because it's fully occupied. So we have to wait for the residents to turn. We may deploy different strategies, maybe cash for keys or so forth later on, but that's that depends on the market and our strategy and so forth. But yeah, those are some of the, I guess, kind of career goals. Any personal goals you accomplished last year that you want to talk about?
Personal goals from last year. I mean, I think I did a good job. Like I'm going back to like trying to enjoy life more and not be so work focused.
Yeah.
I luckily was able to kind of go on a couple road trips last year, and I like just seeing other cultures and seeing how people live. I mean, I grew up in the Bay Area, which is arguably its own little bubble in itself. And so I'm always fascinated just to see kind of like how other people grew up in other countries. And I didn't go anything international last year, but I did some road trips. So I kind of drove through Texas. Actually, I went through Austin, Dallas, San Antonio. And I also did some road trips kind of randomly, like up in the Idaho area. Like I went to Boise, I went to Seattle, I went to Portland. So I think just getting out there, spending time with family specifically was really cool. My sister actually just moved to Madrid this summer, so she's teaching English out there.
Oh, awesome.
So we ended up meeting kind of in New York. She flew in from Europe. I flew out to New York. So we met kind of at the midpoint and had some fun in New York for the holidays. So I think it's always for me back to family and fun, really. And like the one thing I actually want to ask you as a kind of fun question, because I experienced this actually, I was in Tahoe a couple of weeks ago as well. I don't know if we were there at the same time, but like I went up with some friends and one of my friends has a kid. So we went sledding. Yep. And I just remember we went to this like super cool hill, hopped on these sleds and these saucers. And I don't remember the last time I laughed so hard in my life. So like my question to you, Sherwin, is like, what was the last memory you have of like just pretending like you were a kid again? Like, cause I think that's something that we forget as we get older, like forget how to be kids again. Yeah. Maybe not an issue for you, but I think a lot of my peer group and my friends, it's like, you got life, you got work, you got family. Like, when was the last time you acted like a kid?
Cool. I mean, coincidentally, you said that. I went sledding with my family when we were in Tahoe, and that was fun. I remember we were looking for a place to go sledding. We found a place you had to pay, and we took a look at it. It didn't look very, we call it Mina friendly. My daughter's a Mina. She's 2 years old. It's not very kid friendly. It was like a roller coaster. Yeah. But this was in Heavenly, right? So,
dude, South I know the one you went to, kind of rinky dinky, and it has cash only.
Yes, that's the one.
We went there first and we skipped it because I didn't have any cash.
No, but then across the street there was like a free little park area.
Everyone is over there.
So we went there and we're like, oh, let's just go there. I mean, it's a little bit dangerous. There's a lot of trees in there, but we found a little pathway, and then luckily, my friend Paul, like he got like a little. We didn't bring like a legit kind of like I guess what do you call it, like a sled, but he had like a tube.
A tube.
Yeah. So we blew that up. And man, my kids had so much fun, and we were laughing. And it's funny because we were like, each parent was sort of like at different increments to kind of slow them down and like catch them at the end so that they don't die.
Don't hit a tree.
But then my joy is kind of living my life through my kids and smiles. And it's one of those things you learn, like, I don't mind spending money for memories for my family. And
for sure.
Kids. And this is the one thing, we went to Tahoe. I mean, this was free. We'd have to pay for this hill, but still, it's just these little memories that I'm creating for my family, especially my kids, that they're gonna remember. Growing up, I remember I have like different memories from a childhood that that my parents did me, taking me to different parts of the world, vacationing or having fun, and these little things that I just like seeing my kids smile and laugh. It makes me feel good. And I was like, I felt like a kid. I went in the tube and we stopped halfway because I guess I'm too heavy. I got that Hawaii weight from my December trip. I was like weighed down. My butt like sort of just stopped us. And my son was like, what happened? Why did we stop?
Why are you so big?
Yeah, no. And then, yeah, exactly. He's like, Dada, you're too heavy or something like that. So I mean,
well,
that's
here's our reminder to everyone that's watching, all 7 million of you all. Like, don't hold back, your childlike tendencies sometimes. Like, again, as we get older and we become, adults, and we have families, and we kids, we have job, we have investing, we got all this stuff going on. Like, you can't forget your childlike tendencies, because that's when you have the most fun, right? So just try and get out there. I just gotta say, I had the most fun time ever. It was so fun. And like, we're just so serious a lot of the day these days on Zoom calls and in meetings. And it's just like, you gotta remember to laugh.
Yeah.
I remember to laugh.
Yeah. A lot of these times, like, these investing shows, or even like on Twitter and all that, they're like, talk about, you got to make money. You got to get all these deals. How many units you got? Get 500 units, all this stuff. It's like, go back to your why. Why are you doing this? And for me, it's like always Ohana family. That's my why. That's why I got into investing in real estate. That's the main thing, is to kind of free up my time so I can spend more time with my family. And that's one of my personal goals I think I accomplished last year in 2021, because last year 2021 was sort of like the first full year I had fun employment. I didn't have a W-2 job, but man, my quality of life has just improved since I got let go. You can go back to the episode where we talk about how I got let go in 2020 during the pandemic, but I get to pick up and drop off my kids to school every day now. I see my wife more often. I don't know if that's good or bad. She might not like that. But then, I'm home a lot more. We were just having dinner the other day. It was like 7:30 at night, and we're done eating. I was like, babe, this was the time I would normally come back from work.
Yeah.
7:30 at night.
Yep.
By then, we got to hurry up, eat, and then I can spend maybe an hour a day with my kids.
And you were probably stressed from the day's work, and you also were probably stressed for tomorrow's work.
Oh yeah, and I had that same feeling when like I was in Hawaii, and you know this story. I think we actually got COVID there, so we had to extend our trip. But then I remember, like, when I had a W-2 job, coming back from vacation was always this depressing. I always say, like, the longest day at work is the first day back from vacation. And I remember, especially around the holidays, because you just spend time with family and friends, and it was New Year's and Christmas and blah, blah. You come back, you're like, oh, I got to go back to work. I got to go back to work. I got to go back to community. I used to dread it. And I wasn't stressed at all. I was like, we were in Hawaii. We wanted to come back because we're like, oh my gosh, we've been spending so long here. I'm taking a toll on my parents and all that. Always trying to, like, host us and everything, which they didn't mind, by the way. They loved it. But anyways, coming back here, I was like, I wasn't stressed out because I was working while I was in Hawaii, but I got to pick and choose when I wanted to work and where I wanted to work and so forth. So I just love that flexibility. And that was a personal goal of mine, sort of free up my time. And I'm doing that now. And, 2022 is sort of want to just continue that effort to sort of be more mindful of my time. I love the fact you say, just be a kid, man. Go. All the stress about, don't be so stressed about your goals. Oh, I got to invest in this. I got to do 5 flips this year, or blah, blah, blah. Don't forget to laugh, sit back, and just remember your why. Sometimes you got to take care of your body, take care of your soul, because if you don't, you won't be able to physically invest or go look at those investments that you want to do, or stocks or whatever you want, whatever. I mean, us, we're more real estate minded, right? But just take it. And that's one of my goals too. Like you mentioned, I think you mentioned exercising. I think I'm reading kind of my goals, like, I want to exercise at least 30 minutes a day, even on the weekends. And I want to get a bike so I can bike to the office. I actually want to run a triathlon.
Oh, okay.
I was set to do it last year with my buddy, and I don't know, I kind of wimped out because the swimming part in open water, a guy from Hawaii, swimming's not my forte, right? So I mean, a sprint marathon, not the crazy Ironman killing you marathon. The sprint is like a lot more easier, but that's one of my goals here. I want to learn to play golf and some other stuff, like some fun stuff like that. But I don't know. It's just, like we just mentioned, just focus on your goals and again, the right mindset. And before, I know we're coming up to like our ending, Tyler, but then I guess, well, one thing I wanted to ask you, if you have any other goals in 2022 that you wanted to accomplish, but more importantly, I guess, what are you doing? I guess, what are the steps, or how or what are you doing, or planning to do to accomplish those goals, whether it's personal or business and career?
Yeah, I think for me, it's gonna be sound super simple and basic, but I am a list kind of guy. Like I need to have visualization. So
I was gonna
I
bring
guess,
that up. I knew you
I
were gonna bring
guess,
that up. Yeah.
yeah. So I guess really for me, what I've understood and what I understand about myself is I have a lot of dreams and goals and things I want to accomplish in life.
Mhm.
But unless it's constantly being visible to me on a daily basis, I'm going to forget or something's going to get in the way and I'm just going to not do it. Right. So that's why I literally like right here, I got a list. This is you can't see it because of the freaking thingamajig, but like I
Yeah,
literally every single day when I sit down on my desk, I see my goals for the year.
that's awesome.
And just the fact that it's visual and right there for me to see and remind myself, I'm like, I got to do this. I got to take this step to accomplish this goal. So like
Yeah.
visualization lists, like I just bought a whiteboard. So like I
Mhm.
have all of these things I have in front of me, like
Yeah.
screaming at me every single day to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
That's how I do it.
Yeah, we can't see your whiteboard because your
You can't
background's
see my
white.
whiteboard, but like the best way to hold myself accountable is you either have an accountability partner, which I do. I have a friend that I talk to routinely, but I also you have to like bombard your visualizations and like have them be present all the time.
Yeah.
For me personally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like we all have we can all have these dreams and goals, but you got to take action.
Yeah.
And you got to make things easier for you to take action. So
Yeah.
seeing these things every day helps me out.
Yeah, I knew I was hoping you were bringing up visualization because we talked about this. How you create a vision board,
Yep.
and I create vision, and yeah, that's sort of similar to you. That's sort of like how and what I'm doing to
Yep.
accomplish my goals. Is there's a great book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod.
Yep.
That if you haven't read it, go read it. I read this book, I think 3 years ago, before I started investing heavily into commercial multifamily syndications. Before I started my company Flight. And he talks about kind of like the scribing and like and like kind of having morning goals, this morning routine that he goes through. You can kind of look it up and Google it, but one of them is affirmations and visualizations. And back when I was working and commuting like an hour a day on the bus, I would kind of go through like I wrote my goals on Google Keep. I would read them every morning during my commute. I would kind of type out what I'm grateful for that day, for that week, and so forth. And then I had like a vision board on Pinterest where I kind of put different images on there of things I want to accomplish, goals I want to be more focused on. So it was like 3 years ago before I did my syndicate. Now, fast forward to now, I don't know if there was any relation. I guess there is, because my mindset was shifted differently now, and I was more focused on my goals. And I'm at where I'm at now. I'm not like super wealthy and all that. I mean, for me, I am, because now I'm more in control of my time. That was my original goal, and this is like 3 years later. So it's kind of like it just training your mind and your mindset into that. And similar to you, like now that I don't commute in the morning, my morning's kind of hectic because I got to drop my kids off to school and everything. I kind of shifted to my schedule. So at night before I go to bed, I kind of read my goals on my phone or whatever, wherever. I don't have it written out. I'm kind of like old school. I'm not digital. I'm digital, not have an analog, right? So I read my goals, and then I go through my Pinterest board where I have like a Pinterest of like affirmations, sort of like different quotes from different investors and different people. And I also have a vision board where I actually just updated to kind of relate back to my 2022 goals. I have like pictures of people golfing and driving. Like, okay, I want to improve my golf skill. I have a picture of someone on Peloton because he's got a Peloton. So I was like, okay, being on my gotta go Peloton. I have people like cycling, swimming, and running because I want to run a triathlon. I have a person boxing because like I want to box more. I have pictures of like some multifamily properties because I want to build up that personal side portfolio. I have a picture. I'm looking at my picture board right now, but that's what I'm going through. I have a picture of Hawaii because I want to spend more time back home in Hawaii. I have pictures of my like my family and a bunch of different visual kind of cues that brings me back to my why. Like even little stuff like this was like 2 years ago or 2 or 3 years ago when I first started. I have a picture of I have a picture of kids playing soccer because I had that goal. Like I want to be able to bring my kids to soccer and not worry about working, or I can work on their schedule. I do that now. I have a picture of a school bus because I wanted to pick up and drop off my kids from school. I do that right now. So it's sort of like training. I don't want to say tricking your mind, but it's just kind of shifting your focus and your mindset into what's important, and clearing all that other nonsense and stuff in your mind. It's like, you know, if you really want a Tesla, you're gonna think about Tesla, you're gonna see a lot of Teslas on the street. I mean, that's probably
True.
that probably doesn't make sense here in the Bay Area because there's Teslas
They're
everywhere.
everywhere. But I get what you're saying. And I completely agree with the whole visualization aspect of how that helps you achieve goals, man.
Yeah,
I think it's great. I think everyone should at least try it. And if you don't think it works for you, that's fine. But I think you should at least try it.
Yeah.
Lists and visualization and vision boards and writing things down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And hold yourself accountable, like you and I. Just chat with a friend, talk about your goals, and then have a weekly call, monthly call, quarterly call to sort of see update. Hey, where are you at with your goals? Hey, so what was your first month goal in January? Because then just the last day of January. Right?
Well, so actually and we'll wrap it up after this because now we're going on some tangents. But
I know.
January goal is to get a tattoo.
Whoa, are you gonna show us your tattoo?
I will. I actually already have a tattoo, but I'm gonna get another tattoo. It's something I wanted for a while, and I just had when do you ever think about getting a tattoo?
Yeah, just get that. Get that REI invest.
I'm gonna get some
real
teardrops down the.
No, just put our real estate investing real talk logo here.
Right on under my eye.
yeah. For every 100 subscriber we get, so we get one or like
oh
whatever.
Oh my gosh! Well, what then we'll have I'll have a bunch of ticks all over my face.
That's the goal. I mean, just to close out too, that is actually one of my other goals, and I want to bring up to you because I want you to help me out. The goal is become more of an influencer,
yes.
Improve my social media presence.
I think the term influencers, I don't like the term influencer.
Yeah, I know.
But we basically, at the end of the day, we just want to put more value out there via content.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yep.
And that's through social media platforms and YouTube. Yep. And I think there's a lot of power to us, hopefully taking our experiences and sharing them with you. And then, generally, as we kind of grow this platform and other platforms, there's a lot of reciprocation too from fans and people that are watching us as well. So I mean, there's just so much opportunity in this content world, and I think that's one thing we both need to focus on for sure.
Yeah, I know we talked about it earlier in the year, sort of like our goals for this kind of show, and how we want to present ourselves. And we have our typical show where we kind of talk about specific topics, and we talked last time how some of the most value that you and I have is just kind of talking casually, like how we're talking now, without kind of like a set agenda. We'll have like a topic, like today was kind of 22 our goals for 2022 and our goals that we accomplished last year, but it kind of went on tangents, and that's sort of where I pick up a lot of valuable information, a lot of little nitpicks, just kind of talking about our journey and our experiences, and bringing value. So we talked about like maybe we just record some more real talk. We have random guests here. Different types of investment experience. Maybe they haven't invested before, but just talk about family, talk about life, talk about goals and whatever their specialties and so forth. But yeah, I think you put it key. The influencer word is kind of like, not really right. We're not like going to be like TikTok superstars or anything like that, but like just providing value to our investors or not investors, to our audience, whether they invest or not. And maybe they'll find some value. We talk about Hawaii, talk about your, like maybe they'll find value in that. I don't know.
It's a place to come hang out with Sherwin and myself and some random guests and talk real estate. That's what we want to create. And I think also from our standpoint, I think we got to do a better job of editing and just posting consistently.
Yeah,
you gotta have a consistent schedule. So that's one thing I got to work on.
Yeah, for sure. we actually, I don't know if viewers, we actually have a bunch of shows in archive that we need to just spill out.
We have a few more in the back pocket. And then also next week we're going to have actually our first guest on our show coming up. So just stay tuned for that.
Yeah, I know everyone's kind of bored just hearing you and me chit chat, but we'll have some other people, some other experienced investors talking about their stories and their journey. So that's how we're going to kick off 2022. So we're going to grow organically. We're going to figure out how it goes. But like I mentioned before, if anything, at least my kids will have a show to look at when
they got when they Papa Sherwin on forever.
I mean, my mom, shout out to my mom. She loves watching our show because, she puts it on. It's like, when's your new show? I want to watch it. She blows it up. My sister blows it up on her big screen TV.
I love it.
Make
sure she subscribes.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know if she has. I mean, they're like old school. So how do I subscribe? Actually, she asked me, how do I know when you get a new episode? Can you put it on my TV. I'm like, you gotta have YouTube, blah blah. It's just a whole ordeal. I go just go watch it at my sister's.
I was to say my mother was talking to me for like months. She was trying to figure out how to subscribe. She couldn't figure it out. But with that note, make sure if you're watching this, like and subscribe. We appreciate you all. We want to spread this word, this wealth of knowledge that we have. And again, we're not experts in anything. We have our own mistakes as well, but we obviously want to try and share our experience with you all and the goods and bads of investing in real estate.
Yep. That was a great way to end the show, Tyler. Man, you practiced
that. We
that.
Gotta end with our tagline.
Oh, it's been.
Remember what it is?
What's Oh yeah.
Jump in and take flight.
Jump in and take flight.
And it's been real.
Yeah, it's been real, guys. So here's to 2022. Please join us on this journey. Continue to join, and like and subscribe if you want. Shoot us an email, text, whatever, if you have any questions, and let's go from there. Let's kill 2022.
Let's do it.
Keep it real, guys.
See ya.
See ya.